Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking specifically about the king of the crypto sector, and that is Bitcoin. It's been a while since we focused solely on BTC, but because so many of the stocks that we frequent here on the channel are ultimately dependent on the general trend direction of Bitcoin, I feel like it's very important and necessary to catch up on the fundamentals, focus on the big dog, and remind ourselves both from a technical and fundamental perspective why we're bullish on Bitcoin for the remainder of 2021. And let me tell you guys, right now, Bitcoin is looking great on the charts. We have technically broken out. The fundamentals could not be stronger. We have a lot of great pieces of news that we're going to cover today, and it's been a while since we've read over some articles, so I'm actually really excited to get into this one. So let's do that. As always, we'll quickly go over each topic we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, Trading View, where we'll talk technicals, price action, and price targets on the one and only Bitcoin. I do have some other plays here on the watch list, but this is more just to reinforce my bullish sentiment around the sector as a whole. So, of course, Bitcoin, Ether, the number one and number two of the cryptocurrency sector. But stocks like Marathon Digital, Mara, and Riot, Bitcoin miners doing very good today as well. Canaan, a Bitcoin mining manufacturer, doing very good today. And these are the types of stocks that, of course, will benefit directly from Bitcoin. So because, again, you guys, these are some of our favorite stocks on the channel right here. More so Riot and Mara, these are two OGs here. So that's why I feel like, once again, it's really important to focus on Bitcoin. If you're bullish on Bitcoin, you got to be bullish on these two as well. All right, so Bitcoin, again, we will talk price targets. I'll talk to you guys about short-term, what I see playing out right now, a little bull flag right here, and then we'll jump to the 4-hour candles and talk longer term, and I'll let you guys know what I think could play out over the course of this month, at least over the course of the coming weeks, all right? So that is going to be at the end, but first, of course, we got to establish our fundamental bullishness. Kick it off with some articles. First up, I'm sure all of you, if you're following Bitcoin, have heard of all of these, but I just want to cover it as a group, as a family, and it's going to be huge. So, PayPal pushes crypto further mainstream with planned checkout service for 29 million merchants. PayPal, you guys, obviously one of the biggest payment providers, I don't know the correct terminology to use there. I'm sorry, I should have known that. PayPal, obviously everyone knows what PayPal is. This is huge news. So we will cover this first, just establish that. And then we will move on to the addition to another payment provider, Visa. So Bloomberg, digital currencies jump as Visa pilots crypto settlement. Again, you guys hear PayPal, Visa, two of the top dogs in the financial ecosystem right now. The fact that these guys are piloting Bitcoin is just so ridiculously bullish. So we will go over these two, and then we'll actually read over this pretty extensive but very, very comprehensive and very good article, in my opinion, by Dylan LeClaire. So I do want to shout the author out because this is this is an in-depth, very, very good article, and I do want to share it with you guys. It is a little longer, but I think it's very worth reading, and I obviously wouldn't read it to you guys if I didn't think it was worth the time. So if history is any indication, $200,000 Bitcoin is coming in 2021. So we will close it out with this article prior to jumping in the charts. But as always, you guys, before we do that, I will ask you to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today, or if you are invested in Bitcoin, if you're bullish on Bitcoin like I am, if you're bullish on the cryptocurrency rally of 2021 and on the fact that it will continue, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, because of course, if Bitcoin and all these crypto related stocks that we talk about do well, I'm going to be that much more excited to pump out content related to it. So subscribe if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this. And of course, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter. First link down in the description. That is $15 a month. If you want a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio that I do update every single trading day during market hours, call options, put options, stock positions, crypto positions, of course. And again, I do focus, if you guys want daily updates on plays like Mara, Riot, not necessarily Canaan, but so many of the plays that we talk about frequently here on the channel, if you want daily analyses and charts on those guys, I do include those in the newsletter, so check that out if you're interested in, again, daily analyses on those. But I do really appreciate that if you check it out. Again, I do send out that email newsletter every single day along with the portfolio update, rationalizing my trades, giving you guys some charts and analyses and whatnot on anything I'm keeping an eye on personally. So $15 a month, first link in the description. It really means a lot if you check it out. But if not, no worries at all. I appreciate you watching here. So let's dive into this video. Again, we will get into this at the end, you guys. Let's focus on some of these crazy fundamentals first. So CoinDesk, PayPal pushes crypto further mainstream with planned checkout service for 29 million merchants. The move could speed up the use. Sorry, why is this is scrolling weird. Sorry, you guys. The move could speed up the use of crypto in day-to-day commerce. Moving on. PayPal, which last year added the ability to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrency, is pushing it as a payment method across 29 million or so merchants connected to the fintech giant. Announced Tuesday, PayPal's checkout will allow Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin to be seamlessly converted into US dollars or other fiat currencies when making purchases. The same as credit or a debit card would work inside a PayPal wallet, said PayPal, meaning merchants will not actually be the recipients of cryptocurrencies. So again, you're pretty much, crypto is just acting as the middleman between the crypto itself and the US dollar, whatever fiat currency you're you're using. So they're not actually using, they're pretty much just settling, once again, they're being the middleman, they're settling those transactions themselves. Though the payment giant had said last year was working on this feature, the news was enough to drive up the currencies involved, particularly BTC, which rose more than $1,000. Of course, you guys, Bitcoin, we're back off to the races, baby. 80K incoming. And I will explain to you guys why I think that, of course, once we dive into the charts. So, Bloomberg, digital currencies jump as Visa pilots crypto settlement. Visa says payments network will use a stablecoin backed by USD. Bloomberg Galaxy Digital Index rises most in 3 weeks. Obviously, again, all the stocks that are related to Bitcoin. Directly, again, Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin mining manufacturers are pumping right now, which we absolutely love to see. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies rose after Visa said its payments network will use a stablecoin backed by the US dollar to settle transactions as blockchain technology gains more acceptance in the established financial system. As part of a pilot program, Visa is using USD coin to settle transactions over Ethereum with the help of Crypto.com. Before we go any further, you guys, I read through this, I was like, that's shout out to the Waves fam, shout out to the home team, the partners over at Crypto.com. Got to bust out the Crypto.com card to you guys. I've been using this. Again, Waves family, I've been talking to you guys about this. The Crypto.com credit card. Like, this is crazy, you guys. And Waves fam, we were here early. So, again, if you guys want one of these bad boys, metal, let's hit it on the glass if you guys can hear that. Metal, this thing is heavy. Bang it on the desk there. But if you want to get me and yourself a $25 crypto bonus when you sign up for one of these bad boys, I'll drop the link down in the description. Not really going to push that, but huge shout out to Crypto.com. We were early on this one, and again, it feels so cool just to have such a generational, such like pivotal companies within the cryptocurrency ecosystem partnering with the Waves family. So feels good, you guys. Again, I'll throw that link down in the description if you're interested at all. Crypto.com platform in Anchorage, a digital asset bank, according to a statement Monday by the San Francisco-based payments giant. Visa will offer the service to more partners later this year. Bitcoin jumped by as much as 6.3% during the European session. Again, you guys, we'll get into price action after this article. So let's quickly read through this. Again, it is lengthy, but this is probably one of the best Bitcoin-related articles I've read in a long time. So let's take our time here and enjoy the ride. Bitcoin has been on a tear in 2021, and if history is any indication, we should expect Bitcoin to continue to run well past the six-figure mark and to 200,000 and beyond in 2021. The halving cycle dynamic programmatic price action. While the typical skeptic will shout from the rooftops, Bitcoin is nothing more than a speculative bubble. And how is there no intrinsic value? And how there is no intrinsic value, Bitcoin is just tulips, could not be further from the truth. These critics clearly have not done much critical thinking or research on the topic. To be fair, the naysayers on the surface, it's hard to understand how anything has appreciated 711% over the past 365 days. Can have done so without being the beneficiary of mindless speculation or a bubble that is due to burst at any moment. But the answer is simple. Supply is programmatic. All supply and demand, baby. Everything in the world, if you boil it down, is a game of supply and demand ultimately. The Bitcoin protocol has programmatic supply issuance. Thus price is a function of increasing or diminishing demand to hold the asset. There's no variability on the supply inside. This is a monumental breakthrough in monetary economics, and it's a concept that is ill understood by so-called economic experts. And again, you guys, so many of the most brilliant minds in the world, the greatest founders, CEOs, investors have called Bitcoin one of the greatest technology innovations and inventions, that is, the blockchain itself, as one of the greatest inventions of like our century and our generation. Every 210,000 blocks, or about every 4 years, the Bitcoin protocol undergoes what is called halving, which just happened again in May of 2020, almost a year ago now. It's crazy. Where the new supply of Bitcoin issued into circulation is reduced by 50%. This event creates a disequilibrium in the supply and the demand dynamics that the market had adjusted to during the previous 210,000 blocks. So every time this happens, again, supply and demand. When the amount of Bitcoin being pumped into circulation is cut in half, that obviously and demand is going up, that's why we saw price action like we did in 2020, and that's why it was so obvious as we were moving through the year, in all honesty. If you knew about the Bitcoin halving, it was an obvious, very, very obvious trade. So we're not going to look through this. You guys can screenshot this right here if you guys want and take a look at this, but let's just keep moving on because I want to move into the charts. Once is chance, twice is coincidence, third time's a pattern. So this is what I say even in trading, you guys. Like, once is chance, twice is coincidence, third time it's a pattern. If you can if you can replicate the action over and over again, it's not just luck at that point. It's calculated, and it is a pattern. So while the halving events are known about into the future, it is quite literally impossible to price in a supply shock in regard to a monetary asset. In March 2019, Plan B, a pseudonymous Twitter user, released a model that quantified the relationship between the relative scarcity of Bitcoin and the price. Interestingly enough, he found there was quite a significant correlation between the stock-to-flow ratio of Bitcoin and the price action of the asset. Stock-to-flow can be quantified as existing supply of asset commodity divided by the annual flow of new supply. So this stock-to-flow model was created in gold. If you guys haven't looked at the stock-to-flow model, there's plenty of I almost should have brought it up. I apologize for that. But there's plenty of websites that show the stock-to-flow model, and it's very the logarithmic recession band of Bitcoin over the years, and it's pretty darn accurate. And it really, that's just another layer that adds to kind of that bullish, crazy, like six-figure Bitcoin by the end of 2021. Okay, so moving on. Plan B later revised the model to account for presumably lost coins. The updated model is shown below. So again, you guys, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. There are currently 18 million now. More likely, there are actually around 18 million because, again, like you have to assume 2 to 3 million have been lost when Bitcoin was very worthless. And that's just better. That's just that much stronger as far as supply and demand economics are concerned, and just the dynamic of general supply and demand. Less coins and more demand equals higher Bitcoin price. Okay, so just keep all this in mind, all right? Fun fact that I always say I haven't said in a while, there's not even enough Bitcoin for every millionaire on Earth to own. So I believe there's 70 plus millionaires on Earth at this point. And again, there's only a max of 20 million Bitcoins in the world. Not even every millionaire can own a third of the Bitcoin. So that's just a crazy statistic right there that I always like talking about. All models are wrong, but some are useful. While it cannot be said that the price action is directly attributable to the halving and the stock-to-flow relationship, it is extremely obvious that this is simply not a statistical anomaly or occurring simply by chance. The model predicts a rise to $100,000 plus in 2021, and in my opinion, that is just the start. As seen in previous halving cycles, with halving serving as a catalyst, the price run-up in Bitcoin brings about a wave of new adopters and users, new waves, baby, who come to understand the monetary attributes of Bitcoin. And again, we'll close it out right here. The catalyst for $200,000 plus Bitcoin. What is fundamentally different during this halving cycle is that monetary debasement that is occurring in the legacy financial system. Money printing. Major global central banks, mainly the Federal Reserve and European Central Bank or the ECB, have painted themselves into a corner following decades of interest rate reductions to stimulate the markets. Rates are stuck at zero, lower bound, leaving them with a major tool in their toolbox. The response, quantitative easing on a scale that was previously unfathomable, shown by a parabolic rise in the balance sheets of central banks. Without the ability to lower interest rates any further, quantitative easing, the act of buying bonds and securitized debt with newly printed cash, has been on the go-to response. This has provided a boon to global credit and stock markets and has served as the absolute rocket fuel for the price of Bitcoin. If you guys have been around, I posted this probably eight months ago now. It was called Bitcoin Rocket Fuel, or why money printing is Bitcoin Rocket Fuel. You can go way back if you want to check that out. But again, as soon as the government started printing money, as soon as inflation hedge assets were on the rise, if you understood Bitcoin at that time, it was so obvious in retrospect that Bitcoin was going to perform the way it's been performing. It's not surprising to me, to be honest. I'm still very bullish on the asset, but that's why it's so good that people are getting educated. And the more that people get educated, the more investors educate themselves on what Bitcoin truly is and the actual fundamental prospects it will hold in the future of the financial system 2.0, I guess. The more people want to buy it. And again, supply and demand, it all comes back to that. So moving on, I do believe, so what the rest of 2021 has in store, this is the last event that we'll dive into the charts. In the late months of 2020 and the first months of 2021, corporate and institutional interest in Bitcoin as monetary asset has exploded. The insurance industry, corporate treasuries, Wall Street banks, and sovereign wealth funds are all gearing up to enter the space in a big way. The bad news, a vast majority of the 18.6 million Bitcoin is in circulation are not up for sale. The good news, a vast majority of the 18.6 million Bitcoin in circulation are not up for sale. I love that line. Again, you guys, everyone's going to want some Bitcoin. If they're not wanting it now, it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of when, not if. And I'm holding my Bitcoin. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. You guys know I trade the crypto stocks on a pretty frequent basis, and that's how I trade. As for I don't trade Bitcoin though. I hold my Bitcoin, I accumulate Bitcoin, and I'm riding that bugger to the moon. I want to keep it PG as possible here. So that said, let's move into the charts again. You guys, very, very bullish fundamentals. It felt good to read some articles. It's been a while, so I hope you guys like that. A little longer, but again, that's fun. So we'll start with short-term price action. We'll zoom out to the 4-hour, and I'll talk to you guys about what I could see playing out over the few weeks potentially. So right now, again, you guys can see a beautiful little bull flag here. We're seeing this pretty much. This is even more of a textbook bull flag. So once we broke out, you guys, right here, this was a very significant breakout right here as we cross the cyan line, because this was officially where Bitcoin broke out of resistance. You can see once it broke out here, that's when we really saw a parabolic move up. Some traders might have been using these, and that's why we probably saw this parabolic move up here as well. But we broke out of the resistance. We are officially in a breakout. I've been calling, again, shout out to the newsletter, shout out to Discord, guys. I've been calling. If we broke a few days ago, if we were to break 56, conservatively 57K, we're off to the races, and you guys, we are off to the races. So again, parabolic move up, descending triangle, bull flag broke out, parabolic move up, to even more of a textbook bull flag right here. So again, flagpole, descending triangle creates the flag itself. We're probably going to break out here, maybe right now, if not in the next hour or so, I'd imagine, at least a couple hours. But you're seeing another little bull flag right here, and it's only a matter of time until we break out. My price target for Bitcoin by April 1st is going to be about 63K or 62.5. April 1st, just because I think Bitcoin is, if not sooner, to be honest, but this would be to test this purple line, which was the previous line of support prior to breaking down. TA 101, you guys, old support is new resistance, and it only makes sense to me that Bitcoin will ultimately come up to use this previous line of support as new resistance. If we break through this, if we break 62.5, that would break through the previous, again, break through this trend line that's obviously in play. As we zoom out a little more, I'll actually zoom out now just so I can kind of show you guys what this is, what this means. So again, you guys, prior to starting this downtrend right here, this was a very significant line of support dating back to the end of February. So the end of February, it spanned over a month. This is an uptrend line of support. This is definitely going to come into play, I think. But I don't think it's going to pose much of a threat. I think we'll probably see some resistance here, maybe a little bump down, but I think we will easily clear through this. And once we do, my price target for Bitcoin, let's just get rid of this right now because it can be a little distracting as we zoom out. My price target for Bitcoin is going to be once we break 62.5K, because this will also coincide with a new all-time high for Bitcoin. A new all-time high coincides with very, very optimistic investors and hyper optimism around Bitcoin as an asset. New all-time high plus a break of the previous support would lead me to believe that next stop is going to be the overall trend line, which is the sign line right here, which could happen quick. If we hit this by April, like if we go absolutely parabolic and we hit this over the course of the coming, like within the next week, which we know is possible if you've been trading Bitcoin at all, I think we could easily hit a $75,000 Bitcoin. Now, what happens after this is going to be confusing. I'm not sure if we're going to break through this, but if we do, then you're going to have to start taking some of these other trend lines into account. So another trend line I'm looking at right here is the absolute trend line. The most optimistic absolute trend line beginning December 16th. First touch point here using these highs right here at early January, almost a month later. And if we break through this trend line right here, so if we break through this cyan line right here, again, around 75K over the coming week or two, then I think it's very, very likely that we'll ultimately come up to test this top line of resistance. If we span this out, just to give you guys a general price target, by the 1st of May, that could take us to $130,000 Bitcoin. Okay, so again, this is very optimistic. Unfortunately, although I am a swing trader, I focus on medium-term price action. Bitcoin is still a very highly volatile asset. Things can happen very fast, and this is also a trend line you guys can keep an eye on too. Just draw these trend lines for yourselves, you guys. You guys know the deal. Just go into TradingView for yourself. Draw the trend lines. Keep an eye on them because price targets are ultimately dependent, at least in my eyes, on whenever the line of resistance on the overall uptrends are achieved. Okay, so keep an eye on this for yourself. Let me know in the comments down below what your price target is for Bitcoin over the coming weeks, month or so, or by the end of 2021. Once this price target's hit, I don't know, you guys, if we're going to continue this. I do think because summer is historically kind of a rough month for the financial markets as a whole, it would not surprise me if we did see this top and then go sideways, maybe a little down, or just like down and sideways, real volatile zigzag for a while. Okay, I think this might be the last run for a little bit, maybe until the end of the year. But I do personally think summer is going to be slow. But I do think spring is in full bloom, and I think it's going to be a green one for the Waves family. So I appreciate you watching. Again, let me talk about anything you want downstairs. Always love talking to you guys. Always love learning from you guys. So I'll catch you in the comments down below. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.